r/ask Reddit. What are you the 1% of? I was born with a cardiac rhythm disorder. Normal heart rate for a newborn is like 130 per minute. Mine was like 30. I heard from my mother my case was so rare that several cardiologists from all over the country ditched their conferences to fly to the hospital I was in to see how to fit a pacemaker into a newborn. Edit. Thank you so much for the Upvotes awards. You are all awesome. My case was so rare that several cardiologists from all over the country ditched their conferences to fly to the hospital I was in to see how to fit a pacemaker into a newborn. At least they were having fun. D. How yeah reminds me of a Seinfeld bit. I think it was at least, where it's making fun of those auditorium surgeries and how you definitely don't want other doctors to be like, why are they are doing what? This I got to see. Dot. Not that I've looked it up, but I've run over a fish in my car. Whenever I tell the story, no one has heard anything like it. I've seen a video of salmon trying to swim over a partially flooded road. Was it like that? Why did the salmon cross the road? Open bracket. Edit. This is my first award. I drive a BMW and always use my turn signal, even pulling out of my driveway. Dude, if you are gonna lie, at least make it something believable. Yeah, everyone knows BMW wouldn't waste money actually installing turn signals. I have AB blood, which is found in less than 1% of the population. Came here for this. My sister and I both have AB. Plus, she is a blue-eyed red-haired girl, which makes her even more unique. I was about to comment that I'm a blue-eyed redhead. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2008 pole vault. When I was 8'11", I had the second highest score in the world. That has most likely changed. I was the world's fastest on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart Wii for like 3 days. I think I remember your name from Summoning Salt's video. Got my wisdom teeth pulled. One side grew back over a year from a fragment left. Dentist published an article about it and was so happy. I was not with another oral surgery. My mom had her wisdom teeth pulled out, and they all grew back again. Dentist never seen anything like it, lol. I think it's like 0.1-0.5% of women or something, but I have a double uterus, medically called a didelphys uterus. A septum separates my uterus, which kinda made them form into two separate ones, and the septum continues down into the vagina, so I also have a left and right side. Not fun to deal with, but I'm too scared to get the surgery for it. Can you get pregnant while pregnant? If so, I would use all contraceptive methods at once. Edit. Thank you, kind strangers, for teaching me something new. I now know that yes, you can get pregnant while pregnant, and it's extremely rare. It can happen even if you only have one uterus. Also wanted to thank everyone that provided input about IUD and gave some reassurance that it's not a torture mechanism. Lastly, I wanted to send love to everyone that knows someone or have lost a pregnancy themselves. I don't think the feeling of loss ever goes away, and screw anyone that says, but it was just a fetus. Edit 2. Missing word and clarity. I'm not sure about getting pregnant while already pregnant, but I'm sure that can happen. One pregnancy on each side. I actually had an IUD put in before I knew I had this issue as a thing, and that's how I found out about this issue in the first place. They said there would be some discomfort and maybe some cramping for a day or two when I first got the IUD put in. Cramping lasted a couple weeks and I was in crippling pain. Turns out the IUD only went into the left side and was so cramped in there, as it only had half of the space it's normally supposed to have, that it was digging a hole into my uterine wall. Even though I had the IUD, I still could have gotten pregnant on the right side since it was completely unprotected. When the IUD was removed, they did an ultrasound to figure out what the issue was. Cue 4 or 5 years of doctor's appointments and seeing specialists, and here I am, lol. Triple nipple over here. 0.5% I believe. My wife has 4. She wins. My ex-GF had 4 nipples as well. The 2 lower ones were tiny, but they still got erect when excited, cold, lol. I was in the first 1% to watch What Does the Fox Say on YouTube. YouTube sent me an email telling me so. Ooh, that was Gangnam Style for me. I saw it with like 3k views. If you legit saw Gangnam Style with 3k viewers, that isn't first 1%. That's first 0.001%. You'd only need to have seen it with 30m views to be in the 1%. I guess I'm in the 1% of only having 3 lower front teeth. OMG, me too. I had no idea this was a thing. I just thought I was one weirdo. Did yours move to the center? Do your dentists also play a guessing game to figure out which one is missing? I'm so fascinated. Yay. I found my people. Had to wear braces in my early teens and they moved to the center. Stayed there since then. I actually have an RTX 3080. Most impressive post here. He asked for 1%, not 0.00001%. If you have a 7-inch, 18 cm penis, you are in the top 1% of men worldwide. Keep that in mind when everyone you know and on the internet somehow has a 8+ in Sklong edit. I recommend everybody take a look at the website I got this info from, specifically the section titled measurement, so that you can get an accurate reading. If you think this number sounds way too short, it's probably because you're measuring wrong. Everyone is in the 1% when you measure from your taint. When I was 12 years old, I was so worried girls wouldn't like me because my penis wasn't 9 inches long. That's what happens when the whole world is exaggerating. Edit. Is this my most popular comment? Anyways, this song contributed to a lot of my fears. https youtube.com watch v equals 7gk. Women vary a lot down there and nobody tells us. I thought there was something seriously wrong with me until I saw images showing me how much variation there is. I didn't lose my virginity until way later than I would have if I had known I wasn't a freak of nature. When Spotify released listening statistics at the end of 2020, I was on the top 1% of Weird Al Yankovic listeners. Seeing this reminds me of this guy I dated 10 years ago. He came over for a family dinner at my cabin and asked if he could play dinner music. We always had classical music playing when we had dinner there, and so my family said sure, why not, and he played Weird Al Yankovic for the whole dinner. At one point my grandpa just went, "What the duck are we listening to? Was he trying to break up with you?" I'm top 1% of Google local guides in my area. That's pretty cool. I've heard the top guides get awarded some gear. Have you gotten anything for your contribution? I heard that too. Was interested in the swag. And since I travel a lot for work, I thought, hey, let's do this. Over the course of a few weeks, I grew fast. Been level 7 for 2 years now. All I got was a coupon code to send a free Christmas card with a photo from my Google Photos. One holiday card. The myths of swag are overrated and from the earliest adopters. At the end of Detroit Become Human, they tell you the percentage of people who got the same ending as you. Mine was 1%. Damn. What ending did you get? I was also surprised to learn that only 1% of people. I got the one where you nuked Detroit, lol. I am allergic to temperature extremes. Taking a hot shower or touching an ice cube will give me hives. I have cholinergic urticaria, so anytime my body temp goes up I break out in hives. Room temp showers for me. Me and my 11-year-old son tag teamed a Hazard level 5 mission on Deep Rock Galactic, which was meant for a 4-man crew. We beat it from beginning to end in one shot and got an award for it, saying that only 65% of players have beaten Hazard 5 from beginning to end. Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the R&S's. Cole would truly be proud of the DRG community, one of the finest in gaming. So, some clarity on the mission. It was an elimination mission and we got the twins in the Dreadnought. The fireballs the Dreadnought shoots had a huge explosion radius and it was super aggressive, and the twins were moving constantly and their range attacks were merciless. I was engineer with submachine gun, proximity mines and the laser crossbow with the overclock that gives faster reload and extra ammo, and the submachine gun has the overclock where turrets send out an electric shockwave when hit with submachine gun. My son was the gunner class and I'm not sure what he was running other than the cannon, revolver with exploding bullets and fire grenades. Much love, my dudes. Edit number 2. Some people were wondering specific details about the achievement. I just checked it again and it was going lethal. Not as cool as Cole would be proud, but still at 65% on Xbox RN. For Kel. Rock and Stone. Dude, I think you're underselling your achievement. That Chivo I'm pretty sure is for clearing a Haz 5 mission without anybody dying or calling a supply pod. Plenty of people have beat Haz 5s. but doing it without dying or restocking, that's a bit trickier. I have small intestinal cancer. The type is the same as colon cancer, but where it's located is less than 1% of worldwide diagnosis per year. But I've signed papers for 11 different oncologists to be able to access my records to see what works, what doesn't, etc. Because they just don't get enough examples of it. Kind of hit or miss on procedures to work with. Which treatments first? Which type of chemo? Etc. I've also said that if it ever reaches a point where I'm terminal and common treatments just don't work anymore, I'm willing to go all guinea pig, depending on exactly where it is, because of the veins coming off of your mesenteric artery to feed the small intestine. It usually isn't operable, so you are strictly on chemo and radiation. If the heavy levels don't do it, then you get to go on low dose chemo daily for however long it works. Then it eventually doesn't. Currently, according to my last PET scan, the tumors have disappeared. They won't say remission, just that it seems to be dormant right now. I'll take it. Thank you for wanting to go all guinea pig. I hope for your sake you don't get to do that anytime soon. Whoa, they gave you a superpower. Why have I not read about this? We like to keep it on the hush hush. Unfortunately, with the plate in my head every time the microwave goes on, I forget math. It's a trade-off. Went to the optometrist recently and he said I have a uniquely shaped right cornea and said I was in the 1%. Did tests for a degenerative disease that I couldn't remember, but I'm in the clear. Some Latin sounding disease. Cornus blah blah. The doctor said most people generally have half a portion of astigmatism in their eyes. My right eye has 5 portions. Keratoconus. I have it. If it gets worse I'll need a corneal transplant. Edit. I had the intensive CXL treatment in my right eye 2 years ago. Thankfully it's been stable since, and even slightly improved. So now we just continue monitoring both eyes every 6 months. Keratoconus. 5 diopters of astigmatism is certainly rare, particularly in one eye. I hope they checked your corneal topography. I have an autoimmune disease that's so rare nobody knows what it is. Genetic testing is currently underway to see if I have a recently discovered genetic defect that about 10 people have been diagnosed with. Edit. I appreciate all the people attempting to give me a diagnosis in the comments, but I think 6 years and more specialists than I can count on one hand might know a little more about what's going on than some strangers on the internet. Edit 2. I've got some links to some information on what I'm currently waiting to find out if I have. It's called INFLTR8. Kick us right, and it was named by one of the first people diagnosed with it. The study and the link to a story about its discovery and naming. I have bad news for you. You got a very rare disease. How rare? You pick the name. Mr. Dvorakshi. You have what we call Dvorakshi syndrome. Edit. Happy to share a laugh. Thanks for the shiny objects. Typing speed. Edit. To save everyone the Google finding the comments. Average is around 40-50 WPM with 100 WPM being top 1%. Came here to say this. My record on a test is 156 WPM. One day I took a test for an interview and was proud to tell my mother I hit 65 WPM with 7 errors, which easily met the requirement. She is a very nice subdued person and as sweetly as possible told me that she was tested at 120 with 1 error. Kinda chopped me off at the knees. Not sure if it's the 1% or not, but no, it's very rare. Womb twisted itself back to front when I was pregnant. Fetus should really not have been viable, but she's now a very energetic and beautiful 20-month-old. They were going to induce me early because the twist, that we didn't know about at this point, was causing me so much pain. Thankfully a nurse felt something was strange with my cervix. Cervix ordered another scan. Cut to emergency C-section. Surgeon had no idea what he was looking at when he opened me up. Consultant called in. No one in the hospital had ever seen anything like it. They took photos. Every nurse said they wanted to see them. We were lucky. The consultant said that afterwards she had done some research and only found a handful of records and the outcome of the surgery was not good. At least one of us shouldn't be here. If I had been induced I would have died in incredible pain. Unable to deliver and baby would have probably died from stress. We are now a case study and have changed the way that hospital responds to pain in pregnancy. Edit. Thanks so much for all the interest and love. Very unexpected and has made my evening. I feel special. A bit more info for some who might want extra. Had an ovarian tube removed 10 years previously because it had wrapped itself around my womb and was like being stabbed every month. Remaining tube didn't look good but was in the right place, so they left it but told me I would 99% need IVF to have a baby. We had unprotected sex once and boom. Baby. She is literally a miracle. After she had been removed, they had to take my womb out of my body, physically twist it back around and then put it back. I'm going back soon for another scan to check if it's back twisted because I have pain again. Tried to reply to everyone. Sorry if I missed you. I'm on my phone. I can't help but imagine a doctor with decades of experience opening your belly, screaming holy shit, and taking pictures. I think it happens more than we expect. I remember there was a picture of an ovary mid-ovulation floating around on one of the medical subs. I don't remember what the original surgery was, but when they noticed one of the ovaries was mid-ovulation when they opened up the patient, all the doctors surgeons freaked out. Apparently there was very little knowledge about what an ovary actually looks like when ovulating. So somebody was continuously taking pictures of the entire process while the patient underwent surgery. But when the patient woke up, everyone excitedly told her about how she had just made a massive contribution to medical science. She seemed pretty excited about it too if I recall correctly. Edit. NSFW, but here are the pictures. Income. https://foreignpolicy.com the 27th of February 2012 were all the 1% to make it into the richest 1% globally. All you need is an income of around $34,000. $34,000 when you convert to my country's currency is enough to put you in the top 1%. Must be weird being poorest rich person. I had a life-threatening reaction to a common prescription drug. It literally caused huge patches of my skin to fall off and my internal organs to begin liquefying. This reaction is so rare that they don't even have to list it as a potential side effect. 6 cases have occurred with over 10 million people taking this drug. I don't like to name the drug because the problem was with my body, not the medicine itself. I don't want to scare people away from a life-saving drug that isn't to blame for what happened. I'm fully recovered now. By the way, edit, well, now someone has said they're going to DM me for the drug name and then share it with everyone. So I have to stop sending it now. Sorry, it's a life-saving drug for almost everyone but me. I'm not going to risk ruining that for others based on my more than 1 in a million reaction. I was given Haldol from the hospital, ended up having very severe tardive dyskinesia. Imagine your body trying to twist and break your bones but you can't do anything about it. Even my eyes were trying to roll into the back of my head. Very traumatizing. Especially having several doctors around you panicking because they've never seen it before. Luckily a recent nursing student figured it out and basically ran to get the injection. Also, my mom said it was awful seeing it. I'm super flexible and I look like the Grudge girl. Edit. It seems it may not have been tardive dyskinesia. I may have my terms mixed up, but the experience of it is burned into my mind. Haha. 2 eye colors. Blue and brown. This is what my eye looks like. It's sectoral heterochromia. Edit. Since this is getting a lot of attention, the condition is called heterochromia. There are different kinds of it. Some have one color for each eye. This is called complete heterochromia. Some have different color around the center, central heterochromia, and some are sectoral, which essentially looks like a pie chart. Come visit r/heterochromia if you have it too and post a pic. We love to see our heterochromia friends. Or if you just wanna check out some eyes. I also have something called Alice in Wonderland syndrome that distorts my vision. Objects appear much smaller than they actually are. For example, a phone can seem as small as a penny. I don't think my eye color causes this though. This only happens about a few times a week for about 10-15 minutes each time. Sometimes it can be longer than that. Hello Mr. 3 Blue 1 Brown. My wife has one eye that is about 70% green and 30% brown. Edit. For those asking, it is sectoral heterochromia. It looks similar to this person, but is at the top 1/3 of the eyeball hips. I. Pinimg. Original CB/80/6D CB86DB6F49 of 384,470,282 B4F955E92E. JPG. I am part of the 1% of people being ambidextrous. Damn, it must be nice to not live with one arm and one golf club as useless waste of space. Try going for a weekend without using your non-dominant arm. Or, for extra challenge, try going for a day without using your dominant arm. You'll never take either of them for granted again. Not me, but my husband. He has a brain tumor on the pituitary gland. Before treatment, his body pumped out pregnancy hormones. So he was hormonal and moody AF for ages. Just before it got really bad, we managed to get pregnant. When our baby was born, his chest had that letdown sensation new moms feel. A heavy weighted feeling in your boobs. When our baby cried, his boobs started leaking breast milk same time mine did. He actually had to pump milk out to ease the pain in his chest. He got the treatment he needed and he no longer can squirt breast milk at me if I piss him off. Edit. Thank you so much for the rewards. Absolutely touched. Red heart. Red heart. Red heart. It was officially diagnosed as prolactinoma. I know it's not exactly 1%, but still pretty rare. On addition to medication to shrink the tumor, I also had to give him hormone injections, deeming him infertile for a few years. Male birth control. It broke his heart. Light at the end of the tunnel, we were able to get him off the injections and we're trying for baby number 2 after 7 years. We were successful. Briefly, but it didn't last. Crossing fingers for next time. Your body can make the wrong hormones if you have a tumor. For example, people will start growing super fast since their brain will start making the growth hormone. My middle school theater teacher had some sort of cancer, and when she came back from treatment, she was a solid 3 inches taller because either the tumor or the treatment, can't remember which, this was years ago, made her body start producing growth hormones again. Edit. I have been informed this isn't possible. This is what she told her students after she came back. I was maybe 14 at the time. It's not like I took a ruler to check my teacher's height, and I just never bothered to research it, because I was still at the age where teachers are always right all the time. Maybe I'll look into it more. To paraphrase XKCD, nothing of importance relies on this, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm sorry if I mislead anyone or spread false information unknowingly. I figured I have to be in the top 1% of deaf guitar players worldwide. I heard completely fine for like 25 years and spent 19 years of that to practice guitar playing. Been legally deaf for 3 years now and still can play well. Muscle memory. I kinda want to start a band called Deaf Metal or something. You have to watch The Sound of Metal. It is a movie about a drummer who starts to lose his hearing. Actually a great movie on its own right, but you will get it more than most would. After your comment, I watched the trailer and held back tears after. It's pretty much the same stuff I went through. I am not sure if I'm able to watch the whole movie. Hits me in the feels way too much. I have aphantasia. I can't form images in my mind. If I read a book, for instance, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the characters look like. My brain just doesn't work like that. I found out at 30 that other people actually visualize things in their head. I always thought it was kinda like a figure of speech or something. I think aphantasia is probably more common than we know, but it's one of those things that most people don't realize they have until they learn it's not how other people experience it. Kinda like photic sneezing. Photic sneezing, just googled it and today I learned I'm not the only one who sneezes when looking at bright lights. I was addicted to heroin for a decade. I got clean and stayed clean. 5 years later, I've never relapsed and never see it happening. They say 10% of addicts get clean and stay clean. That number has proved to be high. From my personal experience, I've been to 38 funerals in 4 years. None were anything but overdoses. I'm still here. I'm one of the ones who made it out. Edit. I wasn't expecting this to gain traction. Thank you to all for your kind words of encouragement. If you have an addict in your life, know that there is a difference between the person and the drug. Usually, of course, there's shitty people, and that they feel like they are alone in the world. I can't really offer advice. Just be kind. That's all. Be kind. Thank you. My ex died in my arms from overdosing on $20 worth of heroin. Not even a couple years later I said goodbye to my little sister from fentanyl after she went missing for a week. In July, she was identified via tattoos. I've never touched anything more than weed, and that was just as a teenager. Didn't like it. I don't even drink. So glad you escaped and made it out. It guts me every day thinking about the wonderful souls I've lost because drugs are junk, not people. Much love to you. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.